I'm going to be breaking down how self-love and the law of attraction are so overlapped and intertwined, but we don't often, or at least I'm not often, hearing this direct correlation between the two, and how if you want to be consciously creating your life and being a conscious creator, then we really need to break down what it means to be in a lifestyle of actually committing to unapologetically, no matter what, loving yourself through all situations, while simultaneously creating your reality. I do think that there's some things with the law of attraction that are talked about that to me feel a little bit insensitive or not inhuman. It's just not the most human way to talk about a concept, to talk about being a creator or creatrix of your reality. And one of the phrases that gets thrown around is like, well, you're the creator of everything. You've created everything. And that is one of the laws and the basis of agreements with the law of attraction. And although I do agree with that, at a certain point, it just leaves so much to be explained and really gone into with a lot of heart and with a lot of compassion. That doesn't seem to be the most compassionate way to look at the reality that we are all coexisting in, and the reality of our personal history, our personal stories seems to just not be as honored as I would like with that sort of broad statement. I want to extend that conversation. In order to do that, I do feel like first, let's start with what we know. Start with what I know. Start with what I know to be true in my life. And if you find that if you're agreeing and if we're on the same page, then we can kind of get, through the journey, through the end of this video, to where it makes so much sense that putting our own self-love and self-appreciation and compassion for ourselves and our own personal journey first is just a natural way. When we align ourselves with that sort of commitment, then the law of attraction isn't something that we're really thinking about so much. We're not putting so much mental energy or focused energy into manifestation. Instead, there's more of a natural flow of creation that just flows through us, and we connect to our higher self intelligence. And then you're not thinking about the law of attraction or how to manifest. That's just happening. And it's in the background because it's a law that must be followed. And for me personally, what has been an easier approach to this idea of the law of attraction, and when we are all talking about that, really what we're saying is, I want to create a life that is preferable to me. I want to actually enjoy my day-to-day life. I want things to feel easier. I want money to be coming in and out of my life with a lot of ease. There's just a natural flow to things that feels accelerated, that feels exciting, and we're always in reverence for the life that we have. That is, to me, what I think we're all saying when the topic of the law of attraction comes up. We just want things to be easier, and we just want to be able to relax a little bit more into who we already are so that we can start to appreciate the life that we've created. As a foundational belief, I do believe that we are participating, all of us are participating and agreeing to the highest path for our spirit in these human lives. We're agreeing to the highest path that our spirit, that the timeless part of us, the part of us that will be the consciousness that leaves this body after death and continues on, eternal us is the one really orchestrating all of these synchronicities, all of our life events. And for the sake of our human awareness, we cannot always understand the complexity. Well, most of the time we don't understand, nearly all of the time, we don't understand the complexity of those agreements and the the role that we've agreed to play within that, the challenges that we've decided we will come up against and stand up to with a lot of courage, and try to keep an open heart in the midst of a lot of grief and a lot of pain that is still really being worked through on the planet and in our local communities. I'm trying to watch myself and not say the planet, because that's such a large consciousness to really try to tap into. But if you can just tap into your neighbors and the school that you went to and the very human experience that you had growing up and even as a young adult, and now there's quite a richness to the duality of our experience. There's a lot of sadness, and there's a lot of things that we want to change, and there's also a lot of beauty. There's also a lot of opportunity for creativity and expression, and a really beautiful opportunity to create such a special experience with one another. Although I do truly believe that I'm a creator of my experience, I'm also so much more comfortable and so much, frankly, I just feel a lot more myself when I realize how much I don't know that I am participating in creating, how much I really don't know about the master plan of things. So this is the first point that I want to make with the law of attraction, is that to actually step into that next level of spiritual maturity, there has to be a recognition, at the minimum, a recognition of how much we don't know. It's one of the greatest prayers that my mentor, I've mentioned her numerous times on this channel, Kaya Ra, who's the author of the Sophia Code, and she taught me a prayer. I'm sure it's in her book, at the beginning of her book. Divine Mother of all life, take me to that place deep within your womb where I may know nothing, no thing, and be reborn anew. And it's one of the most powerful prayers that once I've started bringing that into my life, it helps you start to relax into being a little bit more comfortable with your feelings. So I'm starting off with all of this sort of sharing my perspective of what the law of attraction, just a drop of what the law of attraction and how it applies to our everyday life. Because in my experience, once I have come into communion with complete self-love and self-acceptance of my spirit and of my mission of being here, the law of attraction is just simply a law. The laws that we have in our society, we're not super focused on trying to work with the laws to be successful in our life. No, they're just here to support our society. They're not this thing. They're just laws in place as a structural element, and that's all the law of attraction is. It's just a structural element that it's helpful to understand it, but we don't need to manipulate our lives and our feelings so much and our actions so much to be aligning ourselves with just the natural laws, the natural way of life, and the natural way that things unfold. Now, again, I do think I think it's important to come to your own conclusions about what the law of attraction is, how it works, all of that good stuff. In my experience, when I have dedicated myself to radical self-love, radical compassion for myself, radical compassion for understanding my personal mission and my personal gifts, when that has been my focus and I honor that within myself, and I open myself and invite my higher self, the higher aspects of who I am into my human life to take the wheel. And you could call that God or source or higher self, whatever that is to you, the part that knows more than we do. You allow that highest aspect in to drive the vehicle of your body, of your actions. Then the law of attraction is just simply supporting the absolute self-love that is creating. I believe the reason that this topic is not the one that gets the most of self-love, is not the one that gets the most clicks, the most views, the one that we want to binge. We don't want to, typically we're not binging on videos and information about how to love ourselves. We're really binging on information about manifestation and how do I create. And that's absolutely part of this human experience and what we want to do and express. Yes to all of that. But how do we do that in a way that works, that is sustainable, and that can bring the straight up miraculous results that we believe in with the law of attraction? The miraculous results come from a consciousness of unity and a consciousness of complete self-acceptance. Complete self-acceptance. And to have complete self-acceptance means to look at the world around us, all of these mirrors of consciousness, and challenge ourselves to love that aspect of the greater oneness, the greater self. But our personal mission and the part that I really felt inspired to make this video is to share that when I personally just made it my mission to just love this one being, to fully commit myself to loving Katie, then everything else is easier because I'm here with my own greatest challenges and tasks for my spirit, for my higher self. There were things and experiences that I gave myself that challenged me very, very much. And I know that this is the same for you watching this, is that your experiences that have come your way and the doors that you've had to walk through, the challenges that you've had to go through, those were specifically designed by you to make you an even stronger and even more grounded and even more powerful creator. Because if you could love yourself through all of those circumstances, then you would start to realize how powerful you are. Once you realize how powerful you are, then you can start creating whatever you want in your life. You become strong enough to do it. You become brave enough to do it. Your courage starts to fuel your confidence. When it comes to really getting everything that you want, everything that you desire, everything that you can literally dream of, and it is true, if you can dream of it, if you can perceive it, then it is a reality. I do believe that. I think that that's true. I think that quantumly is a fact for me. The manifestation of that is not the focus. It's beautiful to have the vision. Hold the vision, use your third eye, activate that, see it, imagine it, feel it, bring that vision into your heart. It's really about, taking that really divine sight of the highest potential that you can see and bring it into your heart. Feel what that would be like for you. Absolutely. That's what we all know that. At the actual manifestation of that vision coming into being, that happens through the act of loving yourself and staying so present with yourself and listening to your guidance and acting upon that guidance. There's a lot of surrender that takes place, and to be able to surrender that much of control over this, to be able to surrender that much requires a radical amount of self-love and really noticing where some of the societal programming has come in to keep you from loving yourself completely. One of the absolute fastest ways, so if you're watching this video because you're looking for a fast way to start activating the law of attraction, and you're looking for, like, I'm just ready, I'm ready to start creating, then we have to be willing to feel completely in love with ourselves. It's completely required. There's no way around this step, because if you try to get around this step, the higher self plan, it's trying to get you into that complete acceptance of who you are, no matter how intense the feelings are, to allow yourself to sit in that humanness, in the feelings that are coming over you of anger, of grief, of not even wanting to be here anymore. Just like, it's just like, okay, all right, I'm aware of this, I'm feeling this, I'm letting it move through me, and I'm still gonna love myself. I'm still gonna choose that I love myself, and that can require a lot of tenderness, a lot of tending to our heart, a lot of asking for support and being willing to receive that support. But the fastest way to shed that skin, to shed the things that are no longer serving you, such as feelings of frustration, of anger, of grief, the fastest way for that to actually, if you think of a snake cannot shed its skin without water. And why is that such a profound and divine lesson and teaching that we can look to, our natural elements and our beautiful animal kingdom and the teachers that are there? We can look at the snake and ask, why is it important that a snake must have water to be able to shed its skin? Water represents our the element of water represents our emotions, our feelings, being able to flow through those really compassionately. So if you're ready to let go and to shed that skin and to be in that new body, in your new reality, to be able, you're gonna have to shed some old beliefs and continue to love yourself through that transformation. There is no end point with your self-love and compassion journey in here, okay? Like here, where you are now, there's not an end to it. It only continues to expand. So that's another thing to become really comfortable with. And I think that, myself included, with the whole idea of manifestation and law of attraction, and the reason we like it, it seems like there's an end point. It seems like, okay, we're gonna get to this place where we manifest this life and then it's all going to be locked in. And that has not been my journey. It's been very much like, okay, now you level up and you level up and you level up, and it's a circle, it's a cycle. And that's a really important thing for us to recognize is, yes, we are having these really incredible moments of energy and ascension waves and these events in our life that are really changing things for us internally. And that's really beautiful. To develop a masterful relationship to the human journey, we must be radically committed to self-acceptance and self-love, and completely comfortable that is the first priority. That's naturally always the first priority, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the circumstances are. So I do personally believe, from my experience, that if you are looking to be a really powerful creator, someone with a lot of impact, and someone who's able to accomplish many things with short amounts of time, and to be able to really command miracles in that way, becoming so present with your higher self, really becoming present with that energy, okay? When you can tap into that and become present with that, which requires a lot of self-acceptance, frankly, because we've been so heavily programmed. And this is just the truth. There's actually no judgment on this. I don't have judgment because I've just been with this information for so long, I guess, and I've meditated with this information for so long about the incredible amount of programming that I've been through and that you've been through. It's phenomenal, actually. It's phenomenal how much society and, adults, as you were growing up, because they were programmed by people who were programmed by people who were it's so deep generationally at this point, the lack mentality and the dis-ease And again, I say that, and it's not a judgment on anyone. It's just a fact of a particular kind of consciousness that we are all working through together, okay? So this is not, I'm not blaming anyone for the programming. Exactly, that's not really the point of this video. It's just to remember that it is like so much programming. There is so much that is being, force fed to you all the time, like no matter where you are. Even I feel like I've positioned myself, because I take this development, my spiritual development and my personal development so seriously, that I've moved myself to a place in the country, in Sedona, and I've like really tried to surround myself with really like-minded people. I'm creating this content to try to reach more like-minded people, because I really think we're so much more powerful together. And even with all of the years of those decisions that have like placed me right here in this place, there's still things that are like, there's so much programming even here. So I just share that as a reminder to just be willing to tap into the uniqueness of your higher self. And when you do, when I have, it's been profound the amount of resistance that comes up, because to love that and to be that is going to challenge so many people around me with just the programming of what it means to be a woman, to be a mother, to be a human, to be just all of the above, all of those roles. When I really tap into my higher self, that's a completely different animal that she is. And so I believe that we are in a time of really starting to develop that sort of relationship and anchor that uniqueness, that unique energy of our higher self into these bodies, and start to really be as radiant as that higher self expression is. And when we do that, it requires an enormous amount of self-acceptance and self-love, because it just goes up against so much of the programming that's here. It's a really radical expression. That expression of loving yourself that much, that was the thing that, that eventually led, I don't know, do I want to talk about this on this video? Do I want to bring Jesus and Magdalene into this? I don't know if I should, because I know that because within that story, there's so much programming. And if you say the word Jesus in front of some people, it can just literally there starts to be a post-traumatic stress disorder that starts to trigger in and take place. So even with the example of the ascended master that I can connect to, and that just because of practicing these abilities, connecting with that human lifetime, that was ultimately the thing that got him killed, was saying no, I love myself. I love myself, and I love my higher self, and I love source. So this is a radical idea. Okay, so this is when we actually start to ground the idea of this much self-love into our life, into our real life. There might be people who are not going to be your cheerleader for that, because the things that are the things that you're going to want to say yes to within yourself might mean that you have to say no. Well, no, it most definitely will mean that you need to say no to some other things. That's absolutely been my story. It doesn't mean being in self-love, or practicing the law of attraction. It's just it's work, you guys. And so a big part of this video and of taking some time to explain all of these things is because this is sometimes difficult on all aspects of our body. Doesn't mean it's impossible, doesn't mean it's not worth it, doesn't mean, but it's just like, it just is. And we don't need to resonate in those like lower places, but for us to really to be that magnificent snake that is really like flowing through, right? Without a bunch of like dead skin hanging around on its body, just like flapping around back there. No, we want to be that like really elegant serpent moving through our life. At least I do. It's a huge totem for me and like a really powerful symbol that keeps me like in my like yes for being here. And for me, the greatest medicine to do that is to really work with that element of water, compassion, total willingness to be with all of my feelings, and that doesn't mean all of my negative, it means all of my negatives, but it also means all of your big joyful feelings, all of your big lighthearted feelings, all of your laughter when it maybe doesn't feel appropriate to be laughing. That has like stopped for me. I've just decided, okay, I'm just gonna be lighthearted. I'm just like, there's some circumstances where I know you guys have been there, where it's like I could either laugh hysterically right now, or I could fall to my knees sobbing. It's like I could very much do both right now. You get to that place like, okay, this is so much, this is so intense, this is so much that I have a choice of either laughing until I'm like laughing crying or like sobbing crying. And I've just decided that I'm starting to invite more of just the laughter and like not taking it all so seriously. And that's been a very loving choice for myself, and just some of the choices and situations that have come up in my life over the last year and a half have just really made it quite necessary to be able to shed that skin, to be able to feel that much joy and that much laughter within my life has made it possible to go on to the next level. And we're in very accelerated times. So that's important to me to be able to like move on to things, because you can feel how accelerated life is right now. And for me, it's like I want to keep up. I want to be doing this thing. I want to be on this ride with like as much intensity and as much love and as much radical consciousness, like radical Christ consciousness. And for me, that's meant like getting kind of emotional about things, getting a little more intense about things sometimes, getting a little more aggressive about the things that I need, and really making that known, really making that super clear to everyone. Starting with myself, getting really clear with myself, getting really clear on the places that I need to be loved, that I need to be held. And you know what? No one else is gonna come in and do that for me. That's my job. I need to be like inner mother and inner father to my entire experience. And that's how it's been. I love on this channel, I love tapping into the Pleiadian energy, to the Magdalene energy, oh my God, like to the ancient priestess Isis energy. That is something you guys know. I love that so much. I love it. I'm here to do that. But when it comes down to it, with my own personal creative process and really manifesting things powerfully in my life, it's me and me. That's who, I love the support. Like, yes to more support. Yes to all the masters supporting me all the time. Yes, that is my prayer. They know that. But I'm just trying to connect on like with that energy as a human to other humans, okay? We got to do this thing together, and there's a lot of inner work that we got to face up to and do ourselves. And there's nobody else nobody else is coming to do that for us. It's not. It just isn't. I love the idea of like the event If you guys, you know what I mean? But that's not it. It's not something to put our hope into. We are the event. We are the event. This shift that I'm talking about and deciding to love yourself so radically that you can't help but look at someone else and love them too. That amount of love, that amount of self-love, that's the event. It's so perfect. It's like it's so poetic, and like as an artist, you can't help but just look at that and just be like, oh my God, how beautiful. It's an individual opt-in is what that event is. And let's all opt in. Let's do it together. That's the other thing. We have to do it together. That's why I'm so driven to create like content, and that's why I'm so driven to connect to who's watching, who are you, like let's talk. I want to know who you are. Like let's get together in Sedona, like let's all get together as a bigger group and start talking about some of these concepts and embodying these concepts, and like, you know, having girls weekends together with these concepts, and like doing our makeup together with these concepts. I want to bring this into very much like the reality that is already here. And that's a big part. If you're watching this, like you're part of that bridge to the new earth. It doesn't just like, it's not just gonna like happen. Like we are the actual embodiment of that bridge, which means we are tasked with shedding a lot of skin many times. That was part of the agreement of being here and being a light worker, being a starseed, all of those things. Part of that agreement is like, you're gonna reinvent yourself a lot. You're gonna reinvent yourself a few times over. You're gonna have a lot of different expressions in this lifetime. You're gonna have a lot of different roles that you're interested in this lifetime. You will be a phoenix rising from the ashes more than once. And that's awesome. I want to honor that that's the journey. And I also just want to be realistic about that. That's very much an individual thing that happens typically alone, typically at the end of the day in the shower, typically, you know, like with a little bit of time that we have left before bed, because we have these busy lives, you know, we're managing a lot of things in a day, and that's also part of our mastery training. I hope you were able to take away some gems and some insights. I really do hope that that this had an impact on your perspective, and maybe gave you some things to think about or to integrate. And again, if you could go ahead and subscribe and like this video. Also on Instagram, and chatting quite a lot about some more of these everyday kind of things, and the things that I'm really loving, things that are really working for me on a day-to-day sort of level. I really love being here with you guys, and I will see you in the next video.